Hello, hello. Thanks for the 50, 60, 64 subscribers. I'm sure anyone who comes across my channel is pretty confused. I have a diverse variety of things I cover in my channel, from a few kinda okayish animated vlogs, to some story times, to animation memes, to animation attempts, to a music mix for JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Anyways, this is a continuation of my Dragon Ball What If. What if Piccolo learned the Kaoken? Enjoy! Last time on this What If, when we last left off, Piccolo learned the Kaoken and used it with great effect against Frieza's second and third forms. Because of this, he wasn't too injured, and he and Vegeta were able to work together against the final form of Frieza for a short amount of time, saving Dende from his early death, unlike in the original. Eventually, however, the tyrant began to overwhelm them. Luckily, Goku arrives at the nick of time, fighting full force after witnessing a bit of Frieza's power. Frieza, who was now irritated by the intrusion of these interlopers, fought seriously, quickly overwhelming our intrepid Saiyan. Utilizing this distraction, Vegeta, remembering how Gohan regrew his tail, forced the Half Saiyan to do so again, casting an artificial moon and hurling an enraged Ozaru Gohan on Frieza. This bought the Dragon Team just enough time, allowing them to get the young Namekian Dende to Goku to heal him. Taking advantage of the Zenkai, Goku was now a little stronger. Not stronger than Frieza's final form, but at a level where his skill and talent, mixed with his mastery over the Kaioken, put him at a level where Frieza could no longer simply play with him. Vegeta, along with Gohan, provided assistance, allowing it that Goku could continue fighting him. Their battle raged, distracting the tyrants long enough for Piccolo to charge up a ×10 Kaioken special beam cannon, nearly ending the tyrant's life. Unfortunately, their attacks just weren't enough, and in the dust, Frieza, extremely hurt but still alive, launched a blast, killing Dende. Now, without their healer, how will our heroes survive? Is there no limit to Frieza's tenacity? Find out this time. Now! Dende! Gohan screamed in grief, turning to glare at Frieza, whose form drifted down from the clouds like a dark angel. Frieza was pissed, clutching a huge wound carved into his chest by the special beam cannon. He was in bad shape, worse even than when Goku hit him with the Spirit Bomb in the original. He had taken 2 Kaioken ×20 attacks and 2 Kaioken-powered special beam cannons in the course of this battle. Even if he was stronger than all of them combined, he couldn't take their attacks without taking some accumulated battle damage. Frieza glared at them, gripping his fist in anger. You dare scar Lord Frieza's body? How dare you, monkeys? How dare you, slug? He burst out laughing. Well, you tried your best, but you could only scratch me. Piccolo narrowed his eyes. He's lying. His power level dropped hard. He's only half as strong as he was before. Yeah? Krillin replied. That's great and all, but I don't think that's near enough. We're all out of energy, and Dende... He could barely make out the blur as Gohan charged towards the tyrants. Oh! Frieza laughed. Monkey brat! Are you sad because I killed your pet slug? Don't worry, you'll join it soon. His name was Dende! Gohan attempts to attack Frieza, with a ki blast to the face. But, unfortunately for the young Saiyan, Frieza simply kicks him with a strong kick, snapping his neck and knocking him to the ground. Piccolo rushes to catch him before he falls, but Goku is faster, rushing forward and blocking a ki blast aimed at Gohan with his body. But before he loses consciousness, he grabs onto Gohan as they both fall to the ground. Krillin and Piccolo rush to them, catching them before they hit the ground. "Those darn fools!" Vegeta roars. "Kakarot was the strongest among us, but he let his soft heart get the better of him." He turned to glare at Frieza. "Oh, little Vegeta, sad. You believe that his noble, peace-loving heart was what spelled his doom? No! What spelled your end was crossing the great Lord Frieza." Frieza charges towards Vegeta and begins to systematically break it with greater force, sadistic actions, and tenacity than he had done before. Piccolo checks on Gohan. He can feel his heartbeat weakening. "Take them to Bulma." "Wait, but what about—" "Go! Gohan and Goku are still alive. And like Vegeta's demonstrated, Saiyans get stronger if they recover. They're our only hope, but right now, there's nothing stopping Frieza. If Gohan dies..." Piccolo trembles. "Get them to Bulma, now!" "But what about you, Piccolo? If you die, we lose the Dragon Balls!" Piccolo ignored him and charges towards Frieza. Frieza is still in the middle of beating the tar out of Vegeta, but is kicked hard by Piccolo, launching him into the air. "Took your time joining me, Namekian?" "Oh, I thought you could handle it," Piccolo retorts. "Screw you," Vegeta retorts, spitting blood and struggling to his feet. The two fighters get ready. Frieza charges towards them, smiling. "Oh, this will be delightful." The three Z fighters rush towards Bulma's ship. Goku awakens. Krillin? How's Gohan?" Krillin doesn't answer. He doesn't need to. They both feel Gohan's power level teetering to zero. He's just barely hanging on. Krillin gives a nervous smile. "We'll save him. We'll get to Bulma. Then we..." His words are cut short by a death beam to the stomach. The three fall to the ground with a resounding crash. And to Krillin and Goku's horror, Gohan's power level drops to an absolute zero. "Gohan! Gohan! Son!" Goku screams, reaching a trembling hand to Gohan. Gohan's body is cold. He's dead. "The monkey brat's already dead? Too bad. I wanted to crush his spirit before I got to you." Frieza cackles, turning his hand to Krillin, who's coughing blood and struggling on the floor. Goku can only stare dumbly as Krillin is risen into the air and can barely shout no before Frieza blows him up as well. Both Gohan and Krillin are dead. This combined grief is too much for Goku. He lost his son, then he lost his best friend. He screams in rage, the world shaking around him as he transforms into a Super Saiyan. With the hatred still glistening in his tear-filled eyes, the world shakes as he charges towards Frieza. Without uttering a single word, without making a single quip, without giving a single moment to explain, plea, or beg, Goku begins to systematically break the ties. He is cold, he is monstrous, he is ruthless, and most importantly, he is uncontrollable. The landscape twists and is cracked around him as he drags Frieza through the ground. Magma flows rise, only to be suppressed by massive ki blasts as Goku launches Frieza down to the ground and up into the air. It is slaughter. King Kai can only watch in horror and cathartic fascination as Goku deals with Frieza the same way the Tyrant dealt with all of those who faced him and begged for mercy. Without mercy, and with great cruelty. He absent-mindedly checks with King Yena to see where Piccolo is, but finds that Piccolo's soul hasn't entered the afterlife. He's in shock and reaches out to Earth, ecstatic when he finds out that Kami is alive. Double-checking back on planet Namek, he finds that Piccolo is barely hanging on. He doesn't have much time left. So, he asks Kami the important questions. How many people can Earth's Dragon Balls revive? And is it possible to revive someone whose death was hastened by the introduction of someone else? Following this loose and slightly hopeful bet, the same wish made in the original is made now. The only difference being, of the ones it revived, Gohan is included. This inclusion, Gohan's revival, is just enough for Goku to regain some of his sanity, allowing him to ease off on the Tyrant slightly, and allow Frieza the honor of transforming into his final form's true power. Unfortunately for the Tyrant, he's too weak to even send out a planet-destroying burst. His only hope is in the revived Dragon Balls, allowing the summoning of Porunga. Unfortunately for Frieza, Dende, speaking in Namekian, grants the wish, gathering everyone who was on planet Namek, except for Goku, back on Earth, and Goku finishes off the Tyrant. Remember, Frieza is weaker than before due to all of the accumulated injuries and Goku's beatdown, and Goku's stronger than before due to his recovering from the first onslaught from Frieza, and Dende's healing causing a Zenkai boost. Goku's angry Kamehameha kills Frieza this time. This will have massive changes for the story following suit. But for now, the story continues like normal, with the Namekians living with the Briefs, Krillin being revived, Goku refusing to come back home for a short bit, Vegeta infrequently disappearing to train in space, hooking up with Bulma, and the Earth in peace. There are a few notable differences, however. Gohan's death did something to both Goku and Piccolo, who would have become more protective of the boy. Gohan's death would have made it harder for him to want to train or fight, and Krillin would feel a great guilt in being unable to hold him back. Such guilt that when the others were revived, he asked them if they could teach him the Kaoken, if only so that he'd be strong enough to keep his friends from sacrificing themselves. With the adage of the Kaoken, the Earthlings are more motivated to train, and they become stronger. Even if they don't make the same gains in power as the Saiyans or Namekians, they can multiply the fruits of their efforts, utilizing it with their potent ki control. Now, I'm going to be a little nerdy and start talking, not math, but percentages at the most. Remember, when Goku was fighting against Raditz, he had a power level in the 300s. Using a Kamehameha, he was able to turn that into a power level somewhere in the 900s. He was able to launch a blast with greater energy than what was within him. That goes to assume activating a Kaioken would allow this boosted power level to launch a Ki Blast, multiplying the power level of this increased Kaioken. For Piccolo, he was able to almost beat Raditz's power level and launch his special beam cannon with enough force to kill him. This was a nearly over 4 times multiplier. Mix that with a Kaioken times 10, and you could call that a 40 times multiplier. An extremely potent combination. All the Z fighters can improve due to the fact they have the Kaioken, as multipliers on multipliers, at least from what we've seen, tend to stack normally, as opposed to additively, as seen with the example of the Kaioken Super Saiyan Blue and the anime-only Kaioken Super Saiyan seen in the Otherworld tournaments. With all of this motivation, and with Piccolo as a wall that they must reach, all of the Z fighters have grown stronger. Most, if not all of the Z warriors now know Kaioken, with Piccolo being able to go up to times 10, Tien and Yamcha being able to go up to ×4 or ×5, and Chaozu and Krillin being able to go ×3 before their bodies break down. Vegeta and Gohan are a bit stronger than they were in the original, as they were healed more times than Dende than they were in the original. Vegeta now having a power level of maybe 4.5 million, and Gohan just reaching 1.5 million. Piccolo continued to train, but his training was relatively light. His power level reached a cool 2.4 million, and while Vegeta was still technically the strongest individual, Piccolo's Kaoken would allow him to overtake the Prince in a similar manner to the way Goku first fought Vegeta. Vegeta wasn't happy about it, but with Goku still out in space, Vegeta made both Piccolo and Gohan his rivals to surpass on Earth. Piccolo kept to himself, and despite Gohan's fear from his first death, he would at times find himself training with Piccolo, if only lightly. But perhaps the biggest change was Gohan getting recurring nightmares of Namek, of Frieza killing his friends, of Frieza killing Dende, then of Frieza killing him. How this mental block will affect the rest of his life remains to be seen. With Goku off-planet and the Z-Fighters on Earth, things are peaceful until a ship arrives. Inside the ship, there is only one major power of Frieza's level, King Cold. You see, as opposed to the original, Frieza did truly die. And with Namek being replaced, when King Cold went to the old Namek, all he would find is a barely alive planet with no signs of life. With little to go off, he, following his research, would find that the last place the Saiyans had been seen was them heading to Earth, before their rebellion against Frieza. Thinking that was the best he had to look for, he decided to head towards what he thought was a backwater planet. Unfortunately for him, and luckily for our heroes, the Z-Fighters are much stronger than they would be in the original. Vegeta has a stronger power level than he has in the original. So too does Piccolo. So too does Gohan. So too does Krillin, Tien, Yamcha, Chaozu, maybe even Yajirobe if he decided to try and keep up with them. The humans were normally nothing against Vegeta, but coupled with their mastery of the Kaioken, they proved more than just annoying flies. A way to catch up that honestly infuriated Vegeta, but he had a surprise for them, and for King Cold. You see, Vegeta had the Namekians make a wish for him, and at first they did not want to make that wish, but at the insurance of Bulma, and due to the fact it wasn't a wish for immortality, they agreed. What is it, you might think, or ask? Well, you're about to find out. King Cold orders his fighters to attack the Earth, and the Z-Fighters actually take them on at first, with Piccolo and Vegeta being the only ones capable of even trying to face King Cold. Piccolo goes Kaioken ×10, boasting a power level of 24 million and taking Cold by surprise. Despite the impressive power output, Cold was still a good deal stronger. Piccolo, feeling desperate, used a ×20 Kaioken, but still could not overcome the father of Frieza. Vegeta jumped forward, surprising everyone with the results of his wish. Launching a Powerball, Vegeta rose into the air, the Powerball reducing his power level from 4.5 million to 4 million, but raising it to 40 million with the Ozaru transformation. See, Vegeta can now sense energy. He'd realized Goku's technique, and that Piccolo and the other Z-Fighters could also use this move, multiplying their power level, though at the cost of a massive drain on stamina. While Vegeta would have liked nothing more than to have become an actual Super Saiyan like he saw Goku turn into, he hadn't yet found that energy, and with the Z-Fighters all being able to tap into an ability that could multiply their power by ×2, ×3, ×4, all the way up to ×20 with incredible training and concentration, Vegeta needed a way to keep up with them. So, the next best thing was the Ozaru technique. Now, as opposed to Gohan and Goku, Vegeta has full control of his faculties when he transforms into a Grade 8. and now boasts a comfortable power level of 40 million. Both he and Piccolo are still weaker than King Cold, but they are anywhere from 80% to 50% of his total power. And King Cold has been described as being less skilled than his son, so they're able to keep cold-handled working together. Eventually, the rest of the Z Fighters defeat the Cold Force and begin to join in on the fray. King Cold is now having a bit of trouble, while any of the individual Z Fighters are nothing but flies to be swatted away. Piccolo and Vegeta are just strong enough to pose more than just a distraction, and mix that with all of the other Z Fighters' stray ki blasts here and there, extra techniques to blind King Cold, take away his vision or movement for a few short moments. It allows the two powerhouses to truly deal damage against him. Things begin to slip up, however. The Z Fighters and Piccolo begin slowing down. The Kaoken, despite their training, is beginning to take its toll on their bodies. Soon, Piccolo weakens and slows, spasming just enough for King Cold to take advantage and knock him to the ground. But before King Cold can approach and kill him, Goku interferes. I'm sure you're a little confused. Why hasn't Trunks come? Well, I think the future's going to be drastically different, due to the majority of the Z Fighters now knowing Kaoken. And while some other DBZ what-ifs keeps Trunks the same or includes a future timeline, I think this time around we'll explore a mostly future time travel-free universe, with a few changes here and there. And that's it for part 2. Thanks for watching. If you're new to this channel and you like this, please subscribe. Thanks. Have a good one. I finished. Okay. Oh god, now editing. Hey, wait, what are you guys doing here? You get off, the video's done. Get out. We're done here. Shoo. Back off, there's no extra content. Come on. Bye-bye. La-di-da. Goodbye. See ya.